Guys, so we're here at UWM. I'm here with the one and only former Fox Sports reporter from Detroit, Justin White. Guys, I'm gonna let you guys let him introduce himself. But first, I want to show you guys the backstory of how we even got to meet Justin White. It was thanks to UWM, the lender that we use. They have a success track class that we were able to take where we were able to learn a lot and ask a lot of questions to the underwriters and the people who are making it happen every day, getting people into homes and funding their loans. But this is a quick little background of how we were able to get there with my girlfriend, of course. She was able to follow me along. It was really fun. But yeah, here you are watching us get up in the morning, and we were excited to have breakfast in the morning. And yeah, it was a great experience, but it was crazy that I got to meet Justin White, got to hang out with a lot of people like the account executive who are in charge of the loans once we were able to get them and try to submit them to the lender. But yeah.
Good question. So yeah, I started in 2003. I was the 12th person. My dad had never worked here before. He was a lawyer that had a side hustle, which was the mortgage thing. So I came.
But yeah, this is Matt Ishba, the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage. We got to learn a lot and ask a lot of great questions from the number one lender. And it's crazy that we even got to meet Justin White. And you'll see in a second his thoughts on how to build a personal brand. And of course, on his thoughts of fitness. But yeah, it's crazy. Whenever you see an opportunity, you got to make sure you're ready. So we were ready. Let's go. Let's listen to this interview. 1, 2, 3, let's go. He was teaching a little bit today at the Success Tracker, looking at what he's done. He's really into fitness, which is what the channel is about. He's really into all about mortgage and showing you guys that knowledge is power. I think that's what you guys focus on here. But yeah.
Well, it's great. It's great to be with you. I appreciate it, Robert. And, it's great to have you here at UWM.
Yeah.
And I was really fascinated when you reached out because you're a fellow marathon runner like myself. As you said, I have a background in sports broadcasting. I did that for almost 16 years before I came over here to UWM back in 2017. And I've been working with the marketing team here, helping to grow the brand of not only UWM, but also independent mortgage brokers and loan originators around the country. So it's been great, and yeah, still been running the entire time.
Yeah, that's so crazy because I was just telling him that in Orange County we have we have it so easy with the weather being so nice, but out here it's cold most of the time. So there's really no excuse for me to not run.
Well, it's tough, like here in the wintertime. I mean, you're here right now in January, which I give you credit for because not a lot of people would come out here for a training class from California this time of year. But, like we were talking about before we started recording this, so much of it is mental, right? Yeah, if you can just convince yourself to get out of bed and get out the door in the morning and go, think about what that does for you for the rest of your day. At least for me, that's how I like to start my day. And that just makes me so much better, not just in terms of how productive I am at work, but it also just makes me better with my daily interactions with both my coworkers, my friends, and also my family.
Great. Oh my God. So I have 3 really quick questions that I want to ask you. You seem like the man to ask these questions.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
So first of all, for my viewers and for a lot of people that may follow this channel or follow you, how do you build a personal brand or just a brand in general when, whether it be mortgage or fitness or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Do you have a specific set of things that you would recommend to build that brand?
Yeah, it's a good question, and honestly, it's something that we talk about a lot here at UWM. And your brand is such an important part of who you are in any setting, quite honestly, whether it be professional or social. I think the biggest thing about establishing your brand is who do you want to be? Who do you want people to think you are? You got to be yourself, of course, but a big part of your brand is how you treat others. Here's a great example. You reached out to me via a LinkedIn message after I spoke in your training class earlier today. Yeah. Now, I get some messages from time to time, and sometimes I don't get to respond right away. But I saw yours, and I responded right away, and you responded right away. So it's like that right there, that interaction says a lot about your brand and the fact that you took the initiative to reach out to me and ask if we could chat. And now here we are doing this video. So it's just, little things like that. I think the little decisions you make on a daily basis and also the way you treat other people. To me, your brand is so much tied to that. How you treat others, the way that you interact with other people who can do nothing for you. You know, it might be somebody who, you know, you just pass by on the street. It could be somebody who you just randomly have an encounter with, but how do you treat others who can't do anything for you? I think those are really a couple of things that stick out to me when you talk about establishing your own personal brand.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that. And I guess the next question would be, a lot of people talk about like focusing on like a niche, specifically mortgage. But for this channel, trying to bring in mortgage, mindset, and fitness.
Yeah.
Do you recommend trying to focus on one thing, or is it okay to dip in, so that way you can bring your life and career and that, or should we focus on one thing, or should we try to incorporate everything we do into one, or what are your thoughts? Because you're a runner, but you also do so many things here at UWM.
I think, honestly, I think it comes down to what you're passionate about. You know, there's so much focus on specialization in the world today. And don't get me wrong, I think if you're really good at something and you also love doing it, then absolutely you should, pursue that and go all in on that. But it's okay to have other interests. It's okay to diversify what you do and what you're all about as a person. And also, too, here's the other thing. If you put all your eggs in one basket, well, what happens if that doesn't work out? So I think it's good to have varied interests, things that you're into both from a professional standpoint and from a personal standpoint. I mean, look at me. I'm a TV sports guy by nature. Yeah. I knew nothing about the mortgage industry when I came to UWM a few years ago, but I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to wrap my arms around something that I was unfamiliar with. And to me, people who are driven and goal-oriented people, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for people like that. You want to feel challenged. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, what's going to happen? You're going to get stagnant. It's going to get stale. It's hard to keep, pushing when you're doing the same things over and over. So, no, I do think it's good to focus on a variety of things. Of course, you got to have, one or two things that you're really good at. But I do think it's healthy to have a variety of interests.
Okay. Yeah, because I do see a lot of like realtors and mortgage people that don't have really like nothing on their Instagram. Like it's just strictly business.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's people like yourself and then myself who have like their running and their family and different things.
Listen, in any job, in any role, I mean, you're in a sales role, right?
Right. Yeah.
Your part of your brand is not just, what you can do as a mortgage loan originator. It's who you are as a person. Because if I'm a client and I'm maybe considering, working with you, I would like to learn some things about you, not beyond, are you good at your job? Obviously, that's number one. I want to make sure you're good and you can take care of what I need you to take care of. But I think it's helpful to market yourself as a normal person. We all have interests outside of what it is we do for a living. So I love it when I go on people's social media pages and it's not just about business. They're talking about their interests outside of work. Maybe it's a sport they play. Maybe they post funny videos of their kids and things that happen. It humanizes you. It makes you seem like a regular person, which I think is only going to help with that brand.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I guess last question, really, as far as like a discipline that you do personally, like you said earlier, you wake up early and you really have no excuse, to not to, because I don't know, just I feel like people like yourself who are willing to go out in the cold and run in this crazy weather, they've developed like habits, day in and day out. Like you have like a couple disciplines or habits that, you'd recommend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's number one is figuring out, what you want your routine to look like. For me, it's getting up early and getting the work in, getting that run in or that workout in, in those pre-dawn hours. Now, that said, it doesn't have to be that way for everybody. For some people, it might work better for them to do it after work. But for me, that's what works for me. And that's what I would say is, a successful habit for anybody's figure out what works best for you and what aligns with your priorities and your lifestyle. Because, we very much live in this society, and this, where it's not easy because you're constantly comparing yourself to others. And part of that is what you see on social media, right? Yeah. But what you have to do is kind of push all that aside and figure out what's best for you.
Yeah, not
and
running 120 miles like David Goggins. That's a whole different level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, there's only one of you. And that means you got to do what's best for you, and that's got to fit within the framework of your entire life, and not just one thing. Like, you're currently training for the LA Marathon, but you also have a job. I'm sure you have friends, family, things like that. So you need to figure out what works best for you, and then kind of go from there. My big thing is priorities. What are your priorities? And it's okay to write them down too if you're having a hard time figuring out what your priorities are, not just professionally but personally as well. And if you stay true to that and really think about what your priorities are, then guess what? When you lay your head on the pillow at the end of the day, you're going to feel pretty good about yourself.
Great. Thank you so much. I guess lastly, what are your thoughts on the housing market or ultra running? I know those are crazy things, but
no, I'm happy to give you a thought on each of them. The housing market, wow, it's been a crazy ride, right? With what we've seen over the last year, inflation, interest rates, home affordability. There's still an inventory issue. I'm optimistic. I really think that it's going to be a good year this year for the housing industry in 2023. Hopefully those rates have peaked. Hopefully there's more opportunities for all of these home buyers who've been on the sidelines, some of them since, going back to before the pandemic started. So I'm optimistic for the year ahead in the housing market. And then to your other question about ultra running, here's what I'll tell you about ultra running. I've run 10 marathons, right? Not once have I gotten to the finish line of a 26.2 mile race and said, I'd like to run more. I think I could do a couple more.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Yeah.
Much respect for people who do ultras.
Seriously?
Probably not for me.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can train for one.
Hey, maybe you and I can do it together. Maybe that's the next goal.
Yeah, I'll carry him and then he'll carry me.
You got it.
Alrighty.
All right, so that was the interview. That was the trip. I hope you guys got some value. And I want to quickly remind you to stop procrastinating. If you want to go out and do something, if you want to just learn, then keep failing and just do it. Take action. Stop procrastinating, so that way when you have an opportunity in front of you, you're ready to take it. And even if you fail, it doesn't matter. Learn from it and keep moving forward. Let's go.